All right, hello, friends, and welcome back to the Gaming Dad Fujo Podcast. This is episode number 10. We made it double digits. We are recording this on May the 4th, 2023. May the 4th be with you. I am Fujosevich, your host, former professional Hearthstone player, currently working as an analytical chemist in the pharmaceutical industry. This is a place where we get to talk about all the things that I used to talk when I'd be streaming regularly and uploading videos to YouTube daily. But now we just don't have the gameplay anymore, or that all that much gaming, to be honest. In this episode, we're going to be talking about classic, hardcore WoW, or hardcore classic WoW, depending how you want to say that, because when do we won't, because that's what I'm playing right now. We're going to talk about the Tears of the Kingdom final trailer. That's Breath of the Wild 2. We're going to talk about the Mandalorian, because it's May the 4th, and when don't we really always kind of talk about Star Wars anyway? And we're going to talk about a really interesting AI in gaming study that I came across and a whole bunch more. Let's get started. He's got no time to play video games. He's the gaming dad, Fujo. Nailed it. All right, and this episode, like all of our episodes, will be uploaded to your podcast finding platforms as well as on YouTube. We're still not on iTunes. I'll do it, I'll say eventually. Let's get into some hardcore classic WoW discussion. Update since the last time we spoke will be that my first warrior made it to level 19. I pulled an elite farming Quillboars in the Southern Barrens. I didn't see him. Toast. We were actually watching the current season of Love is Blind, and that was distracting me, and I didn't notice there was an elite in the middle of all these mobs that were supposed to be spread out. Next warrior, I made it to level 20. I pulled an extra spider in Windshear Crag in the Stone Talon Mountains. I was trying to run away. The spider was able to web me. Warriors have no real escape. I hadn't gotten my engineering leveled up. I was toast. Now I'm on to a mage. My current mage is level 19. It's interesting. You see a trend in all the levels, but that's okay. We're really close to level 20. I'm about to switch into my engineering, and I'm going to get blink, so we should be safe for a little bit. And this is one of those classes as well where it's like I would like to play mage at endgame in PvP. And I know I'm talking about endgame when I'm only level 20 here, but that's fine. So what else is happening? So there have been discussions of official hardcore servers. That's kind of the big news in the hardcore WoW community right now. And I didn't believe it at first because it's the internet and you're hearing people say it's coming on the May 13th. There's going to be an announcement. I didn't believe anything until there was a post by the hardcore WoW add-on mods on their Discord saying, hey, tune into the official WoW stream on the 13th because they're going to talk about hardcore WoW. So now I'm going to pay attention, and now I'm going to actually be interested in this because I'm very happy with the way the add-on works and the whole community works there. So I will say, because, everyone's going to be speculating, saying, oh, what might happen, this might happen. I think any sort of immortal at 60 would be a mistake. I think that opens your hardcore server up to being basically not hardcore. I think if, at most, what I would like to see is if you die, you can say a ghost on the server and run around and have little ghosty things that you can do, or your character gets transferred to the era servers that are constantly in just vanilla WoW mode, which is that's what I would actually like. I think that's the most reasonable thing to happen to characters. Maybe you can set a limit, so if your character's over level 40 and they die, then they get transferred, because you don't really need a bunch of level 12s. And like for me, hey, level 20s, come on now, level 20s filling up the era servers. I think there's definitely going to be a massive influx of people. There's going to be a lot of interest. We know it's gaining tons of popularity on Twitch and on YouTube, and the death clips are super, super funny, and people love watching streamers because there's always a chance they lose their character, and for some reason we love that. People love watching that. I know Diablo 2 did their hardcore servers. If you die, you delete nothing. There's nothing else to it. I think Path of Exile actually has it in their hardcore servers. If you die, then you get switched to what are their quote-unquote standard servers, which is the same idea that WoW could do. Then there's a discussion, some people complain, they come into the hardcore servers now, and why can't we trade, why can't we group? That sort of stuff will get worked out by Blizzard. If they want to allow it, if everyone's hardcore, sure, maybe allow it in an auction house, because the only people who have been able to put something on there are also hardcore. But then the issue is, do you just mail everything to an alt? Do you just sell everything to your alt? There's some issues there. There's also issues of, do we still only get to run every dungeon once? I was going to say every server, every dungeon once. I like that idea because it basically makes the bosses also only have one life. So you can't just farm an instance until you get the gear that you need to make your leveling that much easier. So that's kind of where I'm at. We're going to follow that story very, very closely. That's kind of the big thing in gaming for me. I know the other thing people always ask for, we want Classic Plus, we want something beyond Nax. I don't like this idea ever, because it's a new game and Blizzard's already making Dragonflight and they're doing Wrath of the Lich King, and then there's Era, and then you're going to have Classic Plus. I think that would be a huge mistake. And I think we saw there was this example a few weeks ago. Ferals in Wrath of the Lich King tried to have a balance patch, and then they overtuned it, so they got brought back, and then they kind of got brought back to them a second and then a third patch, and it just kind of solidifies that, like, yes, it was good that Blizzard was listening to the community and there needed to be changes and things like that, and they tried, but it's just, if there are going to be class changes, I think that really opens us up to big issues of, but in Classic, Ret Paladins can't do much. That's the game we're playing, right? Like, don't show up to Hearthstone and say, I don't like games that have a lot of randomness in it. Well, you're randomly drawing your 30 card deck, or 40, what is it now? You can only go up to 35, I guess, if you have that, whatever that card is that expands your health pool. Like, that's not the game for you then. And that's fine. And that's totally fine of that. So it's just, we see these examples of kind of tuning in this Classic. I say you just leave that. That's probably not the way to, maybe that's exactly the announcement going to be on 13, and everyone will love it, and there'll be pie in my face, and that's okay. I'd love that. I'd love for it to be a huge success. I don't see it. I'd say let's go the hardcore route. Next thing we're going to talk about, of course, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild sequel. I haven't watched this trailer. I haven't watched any of the 3 Tears of the Kingdom trailers because I went into Breath of the Wild blind. No real content, no spoilers, no go here, jump this underneath this rock, you're gonna find a cool sword, nothing. And I loved Breath of the Wild because of it. Still haven't beaten it. I'll beat it the day before Tears of the Kingdom comes out. I just don't want to beat it because then it's done. And as long as I leave my controllers charging there, Breath of the Wild is not done. And I know there's still we've talked about there's a million things to do in that game that I haven't done, but I don't know. I have a hard time beating games which is why I like something like WoW. Which is why I like Super Mario Maker, because you can always go back. There's always just something new. And I'm just going to stay spoiler free for Tears of the Kingdom. I did have one dragon spoiled. Someone put a meme of like that dragon versus the NES, like Zelda 1, the first Legend of Zelda, with the gold from the golden cartridge, a little 8-bit fun little game that I played growing up. So that was really cool to see that there's going to be some big old dragon bosses. And I'm super excited, and we'll see. I know I'm still getting overwhelmed at the game when people, I know a bunch of stuff has been spoiled. It's the you can kind of like put things together, you can combine weapons. There's people were talking about vehicles. Are we going to basically be able to make Gundams? We know if it, depending on how you can combine and connect things and the mechanics work. People have done wild things in Breath of the Wild, but it's probably going to happen in this as well. So we'll be excited for all those clips, and then we'll go into that one blind and we'll get to talk about it. Next thing we'll talk about now is The Mandalorian, May the 4th. Of course, we're going to talk about Star Wars. Episodes 7 and 8, it's the end of Season 3. Episode 8, what did we get? We got Grogu getting his armor, which was incredible. Super, super cool, super cute. We got the IG assassin droid coming back in a different kind of way. We got, we got a super intense Moff Gideon scene with all the Imperial warlords. Very Gustavo feeling from Breaking Bad. There were no box cutters around for him to be taking anyone out, so that was good. We got Hux's dad mentioning Project Necromancer. We got Thrawn mentioned. These are all really Star Wars nerdy things, if you know what I'm talking about. We had Din and Bo-Katan falling in love in front of our eyes when Dim said, and I wrote this down, "Your song is not yet written. I will serve you until it is." Didn't just propose to Bo-Katan? What happened there? There was definite tension. I was like, how are they going to kiss if Mando's not taking off his helmet? Or are helmets allowed to come off when your Mandalorians are making out? I don't know if there's if there's an actual answer to this. I was trying to find it. I don't know if there's official Mandalorian rules on that, but we'll find out. I hope we'll find out. What else did we have? And then we know Paz Vizsla went out with his super cool "I'll cover you," and he sacrifices himself. He's racking up his KDRs, getting through the roof here as he's taking everyone out, and then he gets taken out very sadly, dramatically saving all the Mandalorians. And then of course Din gets captured at the end of episode 7. Episode 8, we have John Wick Mando fighting through guards, breaking himself out, teaming up with Grogu, and then we have these super cool laser walls. This is one of the things that really stood out to me, those laser walls. And Mando's just fighting through 2 sets of guards at a time and equipping himself with more gear each round. And then the next laser wall opens, and there's 2 more guards, and then he beats them up, bam, 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 takes their guns, and then the next 2, and then you can just tell the end, like the last 2 guards are like, oh my goodness, this guy just took out like 8 of our buddies. And then he takes them all out. He goes through this. What else happens? Moff Gideon gets similar. We already made the Breaking Bad reference. It won't be the spoilers, not the last one of this episode. Moff Gideon gets a fiery death, just like in Gustavo in Breaking Bad. The Darksaber was the big death in this episode, which was interesting. That's not what I was expecting at all. After the heroes win the day and reclaim Mandalore, we see. We were all Mando took the creed and wanted to get Grogu in. Oh, he can't speak. I was half expecting Grogu to pull a Yoda. You know how Yoda speaks in that object, subject, verb speech? I was expecting Grogu to almost bust that out. I'm glad they didn't, though. Save that. That is way later, or maybe there's a break and then Mando shows up in like 10 years in Ahsoka season 3 or something and it happens. I don't know. And at the end of Mando, which honestly really felt like the end of a series more than a season, Mando becomes a father, he gets a better paying job, and he moves into a better neighborhood. He's doing the proper adult parent thing to the best of his ability. So it was really, really cool. It did feel like the very big end, but we know Mando's got to take Grogu on adventures. We still have the love interest. We have to explore, obviously, what's happening with Mando and Bo. We have space pirates who are still escaping. We have a lot of Imperial warlords, a lot of stuff going on there. And then, of course, there's amazing Star Wars stuff that can pop up at any and every time. What is the next thing we're talking about? Very, very cool AI in gaming. So there was a study done by Stanford on April 10th, 2023. So if you search that sort of topic, you're going to find exactly the study that I'm talking about. This was an AI gaming study using ChatGPT. We all know ChatGPT. Everyone's heard about it. Everyone's talking about it. Kind of scours the internet to gain overall ideas and impressions on a topic and can formulate a response or an essay or a discussion on basically anything. And it's really, really super, super powerful. So what this study did was they created 25 what they referred to as generative agents powered by ChatGPT that could interact with each other effectively in a sandbox game similar to that of The Sims. So it's basically picture The Sims. We know The Sims, it's at like a not third person. What is it? It's a weird, like the camera's on like the 45-degree angle looking down at whatever your area is. And you have 25 of these ChatGPT powered Sims characters, these agents. And they were just put in there to act out their Sims-like life. Okay? And so what happened was, one of them, these are incredible, incredible results from this. This was a 2-day study, so I think it went for 48 hours, the way it worked. One agent planned a party, told a couple people who then invited others, so they were able to coordinate their own event. One agent decided to run for mayor, and they talked about issues and topics that would affect the community. And some of the agents were then retelling stories of events, but embellishing them the way that, let's be honest, all of us do. That's a very human-like thing. So those are the big 3 event takeaways that were reported from this 48 effectively 2-day study. So the authors were very clear that this is not functional for long-term mass spread use. This cost thousands of dollars to compute, tons of computer power. Like I know we have my nice former gaming streaming computer powering this microphone right now. There was a ton of cost to power this. But this is really, really interesting result to see what these AI technology, AI software programs are able to do. It's really, really interesting. And of course, even in this paper, the authors bring up the concern of potential negative consequences for society. If you log into a game like this, let's say a WoW that's powered by this, a Skyrim, something like that with these AI powered NPCs effectively, you're going to get these fake friendships, and it would create problems for people who feel like they have, they're human-like agents. Again, we'll use the word that they use in their study, but it's not a real person. It's not a real interaction. So there were a couple horrible AI interaction studies that I've read. We're not going to get into some of the negative details because we try and keep things a little light here. But I think this is a super cool, with massive gaming implications. I mean, they use The Sims, which is effectively it's like The Sims, similar to The Sims, how they said it, so people can understand. And it's always there's always a discussion with AI: is it going to be taking away jobs? Is it going to create new jobs? Well, then we need more software engineers. We need people who are going to be able to maintain the hardware, things like that, right? You have Ready Player One, and sure, everyone wants to go live in the Oasis, but you need someone to connect all those servers together so it can actually work and run. And you need people to do upgrades and reboots and things like that. So yes, there will be a change, a shift as a result of this. We know we've seen issues in schools where you can ask a lot of these AIs to, hey, write this at a grade 6 level. And then you can kind of have something, and it's really hard. It's really hard then for teachers and academics to really determine, what is this authentic work? Was this, computer aided, software aided? So it's really a challenging issue. It's not a straightforward thing, as we've seen with any of this new emerging internet technology, computer technology, since the Apple II? The Apple II was the first made for home use type computer type thing. When was that? In the 80s, I believe. It's never been cut and dry, black and white. It's always been challenging, and it's going to be, there will be a change in jobs in the coming 5, 10, maybe less years. It's going to be obviously interesting to see what those new jobs, how people will have to shift, how people will have to transfer. There are certain things in society we will always need. So some of those are definitely secure. But it's just, it's a really interesting study. There's definitely going to be more of these. I'm going to be doing, I feel like I could find one of these to talk about every other episode, and I might, because this is so interesting to see those things that happened in the game, and the researchers just said go, and then they were analyzing it and observing it as these things happened, and it's so cool. I definitely want to be finding more of these, and I will. 100% there will be more research groups who do this in different ways, especially as it relates to gaming, as what we're generally interested in. It's such an interesting topic, and we will definitely follow up with more of these, but that was super cool. That was Stanford AI study using ChatGPT, April 10th, 2023. Okay, the next major topic: these poor performing AAA games, the biggest games of the year, come out and they're not working. What did we just have? Star Wars, again, May the 4th, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Of course they had to rush this game to come out for May the 4th. Okay, massively negative reviews. A week before the game came out, who published this? We don't need to say who published it. The developers, the publishers said there are going to be patches coming to fix the issues. That's a week before the game had come out. They knew there were issues, but they weren't going to change anything, and they must have known months before when they set the date. But of course, they're still going to release it because they need money. If your shareholders aren't happy, you're getting the boot, right, executives? And so there are some technical analysis that I read. It's if you're using an AMD GPU, it's going to work a little bit better. The NVIDIAs are kind of struggling. And yeah, sure, it's marketed. It's helping marketing. AMD is going to partner and all this stuff, and it seems like they might have. That's still not good for the overall gaming industry. I saw another post saying that the game is spending 21 gigs of virtual RAM, because they're basically running the game twice. The way that they're loading textures and fields and stuff like that, they're basically running the game twice. And this isn't new. This has happened many times before. I think we saw it this year with Forspoken. It was a huge fender, really hyped game. We saw Redfall, I believe, earlier this year. Wild Hearts had a similar issue. No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk were both super hyped before they came out. And maybe not exactly the same technical issues that we're seeing now. Like the games from this year that I mentioned, this is all basically technical issues of people not optimizing a game, just making the games too big and bulky and not being able to run. But No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk, they just get super hyped going into release. Massive pre-sales. And then what happens? The games perform poorly. They're not performing up to expectations, taking time and apparently No Man's Sky is tons of fun now. It took about a year to get there. Same thing with Cyberpunk, which is why we never pre-order as much as you might want. Even Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't pre-ordered, and I know I'm going to get it. I might get it the day that it comes out. I might get it 2 days later. That's not going to change my enjoyment. I can stay off. I know if you need to be on YouTube and watching all the latest and greatest clips of someone building their 17th Gundam in Tears of the Kingdom, you might get a little upset if you don't have the game yourself. But you can probably just hang out. And also, especially with the issues being just graphical, I've never been super impressed with with graphics. Okay, I grew up playing Mario and Legend of Zelda top down and side scrolling, right? So I'm totally happy now with Super Mario. I mentioned Mario Maker. I'm fine with Mario Maker now. I'm fine with Breath of the Wild's graphics, right? Breath of the Wild graphics are great. Are they cutting edge like Cyberpunk, reflecting? You can see someone's iris in a pool because the graphics. No, that's okay. I can't see that in real life. I don't need 4K graphics in my game. I'm fine with WoW's graphics. I talk about classic hardcore WoW all the time. That's a game from 78 years ago with the graphics the way it looks compared to some of the stuff now that's going on, right? But it's about the gameplay. It's about, is it responsive? Is it interesting? Does it draw me in? That's something that's going to get me more interested than the latest and greatest graphics. Star Wars Jedi Survivor might be a fantastic game, but no one's going to know if it's stuttering and it's not responsive. It doesn't matter how good it looks when it runs if it's not responsive and fun and interesting. So if it's not interactive and you're not getting that kind of you're not getting that response from playing the game. So there's the only way that this stops is when people stop pre-ordering. When people stop, when people are going to pre-order and they're not going to demand. If you demand refunds, you'll probably get it back. For all of these games that I just listed here, you probably get your money back within the first week or two. If you just say, hey, you know why I'm asking for my money back, you probably get it back. However, people don't do that. And these studios, game studios know they can put out these games, rush them out, and they'll work on the patch later at the same time as they're working at an expansion. So they'll do their patch, then they'll do their expansion. And I understand development times are massive. Development times are long, and it costs a lot of money. Talking about computing power to develop these things is a ton, absolutely. But if consumers just say, no, we're not going to pre-order, hundreds of thousands and millions of copies until we see a good product, then things might change. But for now, I'm expecting this to continue. This will continue, and I'll just mention these in the lightning rounds moving forward. But this has been a big thing lately, where there've been so many big games in gaming that kind of fall flat, and it's really, really unfortunate. And speaking of the lightning round, let's get into the lightning round. I don't have any cool lightning. I need some lightning sound effects. I had that cool underneath, but I cut that. I wasn't going to let it run the whole time. Let's go lightning round. A couple topics to end off today's a little bit of Gaming Dad Fujo podcast episode. The Writers Guild of America on strike. At least before I came on, maybe it's already done by the time I'm talking. This is a strike similar to 2008. The writers are asking for fair wages and free work. So it seems because things are changing and they're streaming and all of these extra things and online content, how is everyone getting compensated? How are the writers getting compensated for this? They feel like, the way that things have changed, the execs and the face stars of a show are going to be compensated as, all these revenues go up, but all of this new media, a lot of other people are not being compensated for helping to generate. And let's be honest, without writers, there's very little going on in a show. No one's going to show up to, I'll keep using Breaking Bad. No one's going to show up on the set of Breaking Bad or Mandalorian and just improv that away. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen. So you need these scripts, you need these writers to do their job. And then, of course, be compensated fairly. There's, we talk about this work stuff every once in a while. We haven't talked about the 4-day work week. We'll do that next time. We'll do the 4-day work week next time. But you need people to be compensated fairly for their time and their effort and in what they do and what it generates, right? So this is what else happened in 2008? I kind of went down a little rabbit hole when I was looking into this strike, and then we'll move on. But in 2008, what happened? A lot of the late night talk shows, they created this fake drama between each other, which I found very funny because I was at the time when I was watching that. I remember Conan was just spinning his wedding ring on his desk, to joking that he was killing time because he didn't know what to do. Currently, we know this is not going to affect. Something like we know we're gonna more Star Wars. Ahsoka, that series is already filmed, but maybe Ahsoka season 2, maybe Mandalorian season 4 do get messed up. Like again, Breaking Bad, 2008, the writer's strike. Actually, famously, we knew that. I think a lot of people are aware of the story that Jesse was planning on being killed off, But that changed because they liked him in the character and the interactions of everything. However, Hank was apparently supposed to be killed off, but was stopped because of the writer's strike. They weren't able to build it up the way that they wanted. And then once I went down this rabbit hole, I also found apparently the character of Mike in Breaking Bad was never supposed to happen. He only was created because Saul had to go do some filming for How I Met Your Mother. He already had that that commitment, and so they needed another character. I think Mike gets introduced when Jane ODs, and Jesse needs help, and then Saul's just like, yeah, my guy's gonna come. And then Mike shows up for that episode and helps clean that up. And then Mike becomes this incredible character who's, been fantastic, so integral into Breaking Bad, an incredible death scene, unfortunately, for that character. Fantastic in Better Call Saul. And he never would have happened if it wasn't for Saul needing to go off and film in How I Met Your Mother. And then, of course, I think famously also, I saw that story again of Tuco, how he actually asked to be killed off. Breaking Bad is such a wild story, such a wild show when you think about all these characters and all this stuff that's happened. Okay, this is supposed to be lightning round. It's supposed to go faster. Dota 2, Defense of the Ancients. I don't really talk about MOBAs. They are updating to version 7.33. I played Dota back when it was a Warcraft 3 mod. It was a custom game. Basically, Warcraft 3 had fantastic custom games. And I played a lot more Footman Frenzy than Dota. So I never got into Dota 2, League of Legends, but those are massive games. Let's be honest. If we're talking about gaming, those are massive games. Games for streaming, competitive, all that sort of stuff. This update, however, from what I'm understanding, from what I'm reading, it's not just like an update like, oh, we're going to change the balance on, Frostlich Jaina now actually only costs 8 mana instead of 9. No. This update in Dota 2 is changing the size of the map and changing core game mechanics. So this is basically what Overwatch 2 should have done. It should have been a big patch for Overwatch and then just continued. People are feeling like this patch in Dota is basically a new game. And I feel like it's even bigger than Overwatch 2 because it's changed maps. It's changed the way that the game works. So it's like, and people have joked like, you don't have to worry about new player experience if everyone's a new player. Even people have been playing since the Warcraft 3 mods. So this is really cool. This is a really cool thing to see that a game developer is taking this route. I think this is fantastic for the gaming industry. And again, a game that makes this much money consistently can afford to do stuff like this. But I think it's really, really good, really, really healthy for the industry. And for this game, it's really cool. Let's do a Fujo sports update. What's going on? Of course, we're going to do a sports update. We've talked about sports every once in a while. What's the wildest story that I came across? The Memphis Grizzlies, NBA, have informed pending free agent Dylan Brooks that he will not be brought back under any circumstances, which is a wild thing as they're no longer in the playoffs. I've never seen anything like this in sports in my life, that someone is just told, we're not going to sign you no matter what. Like we are, you know what I mean? Like how bad were those exit interviews at the end of the season? Because, professional sport, they always have exit interviews. Okay, work on this and this, get stronger. Who's your strength coach? Who's your, conditioning coach? Who's your nutritionist? All that sort of stuff. They publicly have said, you're not coming back. No, that's absolutely wild. What else is going on in sports in the world of food? That was just a wild story. I had to bring that up. I loved it. I loved it when I saw that. What else is going on? Blue Jays are off to a strong start. Very strong start, only third in the American League East, but I think that also puts them third in the American League. So they're in the playoffs if they started today. Jays are going to be fine. They're going to continue to do well, going to hit well, pitch well. They're going to do great. Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm a Toronto sports fan. It's fine. Toronto Maple Leafs are into the second round for the first time since 1887, I think. I don't know how long it's been. I forget the exact year. It's been a long time. And I doubted them the whole way during the first round this year. They lost their first game. I said, yeah, they're toast. They won their second game massively 7-2, I think. I still doubted them. They won game 3, doubted them. Won game 4, doubted them. Going into game 5, doubted them. The whole way, I'm doubting them the whole time. And guess what? Round 2, they lost their first game. I think they're going to be out. I really hope the Leafs do well. I want to see them win a Stanley Cup. I think that'd be fantastic. But I've been doubting them the whole time. I don't think they're built tough. And I know, like 100% tough. I know we talked about this. The Leafs traded for a lot of bigger guys and all this. I don't need to get into some hockey talk, but they're not built playoff hockey. There's like 2 different seasons. There's 2 different leagues basically in hockey. There's the regular season and there's playoffs. Playoffs you can get away with a lot more. Maybe it's not good to say, but it's true. You can really do a lot more nasty things. And we just don't have the big, mean, nasty guys. Not hurt people. I don't want people to get hurt. There's ways to do things safely, but tough. And that's the Leafs kind of need to move towards that. And I think they can. There's a couple players they picked up at the deadline. We got a lot tougher. And I think that's why we've survived and moved into the second round. Okay, that's it. We're going to end on a feel-good story. So I'm not the most social person in my real life. My neighbors, I say hi. How's it going? See ya. That's about it, right? Myself and Fujoso Miss were coming home one evening a while ago. This story happened a while ago, but I haven't shared it. We're getting out. We're going into our house, and a neighbor across the street just raises a hand. How's it going? I raised my hand. Good. How about you? And they said, you too? I like you too. Don't let the world change you. And I thought that was super nice and sweet. I had no idea what to say, and I just said, thanks. You too. And the you too part, I started mumbling like I did there because I was like, I shouldn't say that part, but because it doesn't make sense. But I thought it was a really nice thing. He sees us around, likes us, thinks we're nice together. Don't let the world change. I think that's a really nice thing to say. I hope, at least. I hope it was meant in a nice positive way. That's how I took it, because that's how I'm going to take everything. And let's just end on that nice positive story. So that is going to be it for today. I want to thank you all if you've made it here for stopping by. Leave a comment, hit the like button. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you're gaming. Let's have some more interaction. I miss some. We need to do another live stream. It's not going to happen anytime soon. It will happen. We need to do another live stream. I love that interaction. Hope everyone's doing well. I want to talk about some of the channel next time. Okay. We don't need to ramble. We're gonna say goodbye. I miss you all. Stay safe, everyone. Don't let the world change you. Be good to each other, and we will talk to you sometime very, very soon. Bye bye.